Hi guys, Mr. Burke here again with another installment of Colostal Claire's Art Club. So today we're going to be making our own sketchbooks. I don't know if you're like me and you tend to have a lot of drawings done on loose leaf paper and they tend to get messed all over the place. So what I like to do sometimes then, if I want to get these things organized, is to get them all together and bind them together using a technique called Japanese stab binding, which uses a needle and thread to effectively make a little sketchbook out of all of our loose leaf drawings. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. It's fairly simple. All you'll need is a pointed object like a skewer, or even maybe the point on your compass, some thread, a needle, some paper, and some paper clips. You don't need the paper clips, but they might come in handy just to hold the pages in place, that kind of thing. Okay, so we'll get started. Alright, so here I've gathered all the things that we'll need. So this is what I mean by a skewer. You can buy these in packets. I think they're like about €1 or €1.20. Most supermarkets have them. So, you know, if you don't have it at home, you can run to the supermarket and get some, or ask your parents to get some, or whatever. If you don't have a skewer, that's okay. Maybe the point on your compass could also work just as effectively, or even a push pin or something like that. Just something that will make holes in paper. So anything at all with a point on it will work. So I have my thread. I have a large needle, so I don't know, these are fairly common kind of needle packets. You don't need a large one, but a large one's probably easier in terms of just being able to thread it through the holes that we're creating in the paper. And we can use thread. If you have like a big darning needle, you know, one of the ones that's used kind of more for knitting and things like that, you can use like thicker thread, or like even wool or something like that, or string. Which might just give the finished look, you know, might be a bit nicer, that kind of thing. So the first thing we want to do is we get our A4 piece of paper, or whatever size paper you're using. I'm going to fold this in half because this is going to be the size of our little sketchbook that we're creating. And just going to fold it in half like that. So I want to get however many of these that we want. So I'm going to do something around 10 of these. It's good, I think, to use kind of an even number. So 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, up to 20 maybe. And then you'll have, like, you know, there's already 1, 2, 3, 4 pages in that one folded sheet. But in order to make our template for the holes that we need, what I'm going to do is I folded that in half. So now what I'm going to do is fold it 3 times the other way. So I'm going to fold it once, and just crease that like that. Then I'm going to fold it again, and one more time, just to get to the final marks. And all of these creases will be marks that we can use. Now when I unfold it again, it'll give us a template for where we want to place the holes. So you see all of these different lines now that have been created. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in from the folded edge. So that's the side that opens. So this side I'm going to come in, I'm going to measure and try and get it exact. So I'll come in about 15 millimeters, and the same down the bottom here. And this will be the sort of edge, or the binded part of the book. And I'm just going to draw a light line up there. And so wherever this line crosses over our first fold, so here, just put a little X there. Then we'll have our second fold, we'll skip that one. We'll go on to our third fold, put a little X there. We'll skip that one, we'll go on to our fifth fold, put a little X there, skip again, and go on. So that gives us 4 equally spaced points, where we're going to then get our skewer, and we're going to just poke a hole right in the middle of those X's. again. And so this will work as our template that once we have, you know, folded our sheets of paper, you know, however many, I said I was going to work on around 10 sheets of paper, then we can lay this down on top of them. In fact, I have some already folded here that I've done. So I'm going to get those all together nice and neatly. And I'm going to put this one on top. And this is where I'm going to use my paper clip just to hold all of these together so they're not moving around, and it just gives me a bit more control over the process now, where I'm going to come back here now and I'm going to use my compass, or I'll try using the skewer again. There's quite a lot. If you can't kind of push through all of the sheets of paper at once, then maybe instead of using 10 at the beginning, use maybe 3 or 4, 5 even. See what you can do. I'm going to try and see if it'll go through all 10. Oh, it's tricky. Yeah, it's not going to go. I'll try the compass, maybe the metal will do a better job. Okay, no. So I'm going to take my own advice and I'm going to just take about half of them and try that. And again, put this on top. My paper clips in place, just to hold the template and all of the pages together without them moving around. And I think I'm going to use my compass because it's sharper. And there we go. That went through. And then again, and you just do that on your 4 holes. Oh, the point of my compass came out. Stick it back in there for a sec. And there we go. And now I'm going to repeat that process again with the other remaining sheets. But you can see I have my 4 holes there, and that's what we're going to be threading through basically to hold all of our pages together. And gonna again clip these together with the paper clips. Make sure everything is nice and square and flush. And then again with my compass, I'm just going to prod through the rest of the sheets. Perfect. Okay. So after that, we can discard that. We don't need that sheet anymore. We have all of our pages. We can put them together like this, and all of the holes are all lined up. So when we start with our thread, we can make sure everything is lined up. And effectively, we're just going to, I'll show you how to do this now in a minute. So all along here, there's a specific way to do it so that it looks and behaves properly. And you know, effectively we'll have our little sketchbook that we can take out and about. Or if we already have drawings and things like that, then, you know, it's just a good way to hold them all together. You can do it obviously with bigger paper as well, and create a big A4 size by using A3 paper and folding it, or, you know, various, you can even make a smaller one by folding A5 sheets and, you know, make a tiny little notebook even. Okay, now that we have all of our holes punched in our paper there, that's all ready to go. What I'm going to do, just to add an extra element to this, is I'm going to get a piece of colored paper. I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to punch the holes in that like I did with the ordinary white paper. And this time I'm going to cut this in half once I have my holes punched, which I have in this piece. And I'm going to put one piece on the top and one piece. Make sure you have the holes the right way around. This way, yep. on the bottom, and that'll just give sort of a cover to our sketchbook. Now, we'll just keep those all together. All of our holes are all lined up with each other on the pages. Our next step then is to thread our needle. So I have my needle here, and you want to get loads of thread, or a good 2 meters maybe. So we'll stretch that out full arm's length, and then we'll do it again full arm's length, and just bite it or cut it, or however you want to do that. And I'm going to see if I can get it through the hole of the needle. There we go. And then I'm going to pull the thread all the way until I get the two ends together. And once I have my two ends together like this, I'm just going to put a little knot down the bottom here. You don't really have to, but it's just handy, I think, to keep the thread together and secure. Okay, so once we have our needle threaded, we are going to get our paper, make sure it's all stacked together, use our paper clips again to hold everything in place. If you think you can do this without the paper clips, then by all means give it a go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to find the middle. So it doesn't have to be the middle, close enough, but yeah, I think that's about the middle. And the first place we're going to put the needle through is we're going to go here to our second hole, and we're going to, from the middle with the book opened kind of like that, going to put the needle from the middle through our hole. Yep, they're more or less lining up there, good. And I'm going to pull it all the way through, and I'm going to leave a good 3 inches or so of the thread sticking in. I'm going to leave it inside our book like that, and we can close it up. And once we have our thread coming through there, we go down to the other side of the book and we put the needle through the rest of that hole. Hang on a second now. And then we just pull it until it's tight, like that. And then we go down to our next hole. And my holes aren't exactly lining up here, but they're close. I think it's just 1 or 2 of them that's not doing it, but there we go. And we pull our thread, not too tight so that it's crimpling the book like that, but just so the thread isn't loose. And we pull it through like that. And again, it comes out the other side. We bring the needle round again, back in through the same hole again. And pull it relatively tight. And you can see we're starting to get our threaded binded together. Then on this side of the book this time, we go up here to the end hole. And try and get it through our holes. There we are. And again, we pull it tight and it comes out the other side. And again, we bring our needle around back in through the hole on the first side and pull it through until it tightens in on the edge of our book like that. So we have, yeah, there. Now at the top here, what we want to do is bring our thread up over the top and down like this. So we bring our needle back around through that same hole again, 3rd time through that hole. Thread is catching on my paper clips here, and it's getting a little tangled. When it gets tangled, just be patient, I think, and try and untangle it as best you can. You don't want to get knots, or we'll have to start all over again. But I think I'm close to getting it here now. Just has to be a little awkward, of course. There we go, I got it. And so you see it comes over the top like that, and then it comes back through here. And so after doing that side, we turn our book over and we have our thread coming through that hole. We bring it back down to this one, and we feed it through so that the lines of thread are now starting to all match up. Flip it over, do the same on this side, and put it through again. Okay, my holes are not lining up on this particular one. Oh, there we go. Pull it through, and you can see it's starting to give a nice straight line. Turn it over again. Now we haven't touched this top hole yet. We're going to go through the side where the needle and thread is on, through that hole. You see, I obviously hadn't got my holes lined up perfectly when I was punching the holes, which is why I'm struggling a little bit here, but not to worry, we're getting it. And then when we have that one through, again, we go around the outside of the back of the book, put our needle through again, and then again with the top, around the top like that. So back through here, and just pull it tight. And then our final piece will be just to finish off this little section. But rather than going all the way through this time, I think what we want to do is we want to take our paper clips off now. We have to find our middle page where that first bit of thread was sticking through. So here it is. And this time when I go through, I want to open my book up like this so I can see where that thread is coming through. So when I turn it over, I want to kind of have it like this and poke my needle through into the middle of the book. So you see it's coming through in the middle there, and I pull that through. Oops. And just pull it till it's nice and not too tight, but tight enough. And now I can snip that off with my scissors, and we have our two bits of thread there, and we can just tie them off in a simple knot and then a double knot just to make it nice and secure. And any of the excess there we can just snip off with our scissors, and there we go. We have our nicely bound little sketchbook. Now we can go off and start doing our drawings, and yeah, I don't know, that's kind of it there. So it's a nice way, I think, of kind of creating your own sketchbook. Or, you know, obviously if you have a bigger needle with a bigger eye in it where you can get bigger thread or string through, you know, you can make it much nicer. But you can also use nicer paper for the cover, put a little design on it, whatever you want to do basically. But I just find that really handy. You know, if ever you're going on a trip or something like that, and you just want to create something to create some memories on the trip, some sketches and stuff like that, you know, it's always nice to have something that you made yourself rather than something you're buying in the shop or whatever. It's also a good way to kind of use paper, or, you know, recycle paper and things like that for the covers and whatnot. So anyway, I hope you have fun trying that out.